Hey, Flappers, welcome back. Flappy here, and today we are talking about a huge topic that a lot of players and DMs alike struggle with: character voices. Character voice is one of those things that I think people can start feeling down about because they don't do it the same way as someone else. I'm here to tell you that's not something to be sad about. In fact, character voices of all kinds can be helpful in campaigns and accomplish a whole lot. So I've taken character voice and broken it down into 4 strengths so that you can easily understand and accept what you bring to the table. And after you know yourself a little bit better, you'll be able to vastly improve your character voices. I'll get to that later in the video. But here are the 4 strengths of character voice. Now, the first strength is called descriptive voice. This is specifically describing your physical actions before, after, and while you speak. As a DM, I love this kind of character voice. It makes social encounters so much less awkward when the characters are actually doing something. And to prove my point, watch any sitcom. Pick out a scene and see what the characters are doing in that scene. Almost always they're doing some sort of action while they talk to each other. Being able to describe and live in your metaphysical environment is a huge skill that can make your character lovable. This is kind of a weaker point of my game and my characters, and the way I try to compensate is to create characters who interact with the physical world in much the same way I do. I pick up objects and I play with them, look inside them. I try to make long trips less boring by giving myself some sort of mental mission, maybe count all the cows that are on the side of the road or something like that. And these are traits that many of my characters have as well. The second strength I want to talk about is what I'm calling common voice. These are additional phrases and words that your characters have in their speech that you would not have in your own. It's a good strength for people who I like to call preppers because you can actually prepare a list of words that a character would use. The simple act of calling someone partner in the middle of a conversation will immediately remind you that the character has a cowboyish charm. These conversational tendencies become endearing for the character and makes their state of mind pretty clear. Going back to the sitcom example, this is kind of like having a catchphrase that cues everyone at the table into how your character is feeling. For me, I like to use this strength more when I want to share a vibe with other players in the DM at the table. Suddenly chiming in with certain words or phrases can add mood to a conversation, and that mood can then in turn trigger emotions and ultimately help everyone make decisions. The third strength is called immersion voice. For this voice, dialect, inflection, and props are all used to experience the character in first person. This is where we see a lot of disproportion between the tables on actual play shows and the tables that we actual players play at. For this reason, a lot of people can feel like they can't do character voices, and a lot of DMs feel like their players are not making an effort, and none of that is true. This is just the loudest and most obvious example of a character voice. The strength allows for a more immersive first-person experience for everyone at the table. While the fun factor does go way up when you have a strength like this, and even though it is my personal best strength, I also feel like it's the most expendable skill. You can still have an immersive, fun experience without anyone at your table being an immersion voicer. Okay, now it's time for a secret 3.5 strength, which is liking this video. Liking helps more people develop their character voices because it helps the video get to more eyes. You will have my gratitude if you just hit the good thumb down below and help the channel out a little bit. The fourth and last strength is inner voice. Inner voice is a strength of people who are very clear with their intentions and expressing their thoughts out loud. It is a rare skill, and I think any DM will wish that more of their party members would have this skill. Through facial expression or just plain speech, you make it clear how your character reacts in any given situation. One way to achieve this is by asking for a check that your character would be good at that you necessarily wouldn't. For example, if a player says to the DM, "Hey, I want to ask the chef about his recipe in a way that implies that I think that he's trying to poison us," and I'm trying to be intimidating. While the player couldn't think of the exact right words, they know that their character would be able to. And the DM is now clued in that this is the intentions of the character. So even though your words as the player might not land right, the character will be able to make the proper check. There's a really great moment in Adventuring Academy where Brennan says that Emily is the first person to actually call for a scene in Dimension 20.
Fig's one of the first PCs that called for a scene when she was like, I want to go work things out with Galir. The sigh of relief from a dungeon master.
And this is the way that she engages with inner voice. Now, you may have realized going through these strengths that you identify with maybe more than one, all, or none of them, and that's totally cool. Everyone is their own combination of these strengths, and everyone brings something unique to the table. For players, I think it's really important to learn what strengths you are best at and lean into them. Be better at what you are already good at. Once you feel comfortable with your own strength, turn your attention to the inner voice strength. Every player could use help with their intentionality, whether it's your best strength or not. And if it is your best strength and you get good at it, find one from the other three that you can improve more, because these are more external factors to your character voice, and it can help the DM and the party out a lot if you are able to engage with the improvisation in the dialogue. For DMs, I ask that you actually take a different route. You want to try to balance the scales. You can still use your best strength as a crutch, but it's also your job to be able to understand your players and meet them at their level. If you balance out your strengths, you'll improve at everything, and overall, you'll become a better DM. I want to hear about what's helped you to improve your character voices, so if you have something like that you'd like to share, please leave it down in the comments. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.